Let's bring up the map veto. Let's find out where we're going to play this match. Again, quick reminder, since it is the first week, we don't have any previously played maps, so there's no auto bans, so you get 3 bans as a team.
Bank is going to be the decider between these two teams. An interesting one with Villa Consulate Cafe banned out by BDS, and then Clubhouse Border and Coastline removed. So we're not going to have, like we saw at the start of Season 10, Cafe, 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 Cafe. We are going to have at least some diversity here as Bank is on the docket for us. I'm actually very interested to see what this community vote is going to be. G2 fans are notoriously passionate and very, very loud and very large in number, but is that necessarily going to translate? Yes, you still give the advantage to G2, even though BDS in their last matchup knocked G2 out of DreamHack Montreal in September.
So I was actually going to say I thought that the community vote might even stray towards BDS.
I thought BDS was going to win the community vote.
Yeah, because public opinion is against G2 right now. I think, but let's put it. I think let's put it like this. This is G2's moment to prove themselves.
Right.
This next season will be their long-term proving ground. But right here is where people are tuning in. They're trying to find out, well, hang on a second. Is G2 still the Titan of old? That's what today is all about. So we'll see. Well, that's what today is all about for them anyway, and BDS as well.
I mean, I think the answer to that question is, are they the G2 of old? The answer is no.
Well, they're not. No.
I will come in and say that one.
There's a lot of factors there, though. I mean, it's not just G2. It's also, people have caught up.
People have caught up. I think G2's taken a bit of a step back as well. BDS banning Hibana. All right, that's Shaiko's main operator. Goodbye. So long. A strategic ban on Bank, as you usually will ban Hibana, which will leave you with a Thermite and a Maverick. Of course, Maverick will be applied on the hatches if you're defending basement, and you have to attack the basement while you're going to be used on the hatches inside of open area and in the small office, and then will likely be used to cut away at the reinforcements up top on CEO. Echo and Mira will also be banned out, and interestingly enough, there's no Maestro ban, so we'll see him this time around.
We've seen Capital recently make a bit of a resurgence, which is kind of interesting. He's been getting played when he's not banned very often. I think in the last match, he was played
a little bit.
He was played a decent chunk, even.
He was played about 3 or 4 of the rounds. Mind you, that...
No, it was more than that. It had to have been, right? I'm pretty... Well, maybe I'm wrong. But that last match, he was definitely pretty potent when he was brought. So I think the Capital ban makes a lot of sense. He's not necessarily a universal operator, but he's kind of niche. But he could be very useful, especially on maps like Bank, on Clubhouse. Any kind of map where you're going to find yourself in a common anchor spot that you need to leverage in order to deny the plant or hold the site or something along those lines. Capital then excels, because he can just stop you from being there. That'll be interesting when Wamai comes in.
I'm very interested to watch, yeah.
I'm literally looking forward to that, but of course it's pretty far out. 6 months of downtime before the new ops come in. Would be about 5 months now, right? Or how long has it been since the new ops came out? How long ago was that?
I'd imagine that we're going to see them after the Invitational. Goyo and Amaru will be available at the Invitational, but I am going to take a wild guess here, and I could be wrong. So speculation is only as good as the person speculating. And, well, I mean, I've gotten things wrong before. I'm going to guess that we won't see Wamai and Kali at the 6th Invitational, because typically they tend to be banned for the season in which they're being played in, because we're not going to see them for this particular half season. I would imagine that when we come back, be it in March or April or whenever we return for the second half of Pro League, then that is when we will see them play. That's my guess.
G2 going to the basement for the first round, but they're going to be roaming pretty heavily. Nothing too crazy going on right now. Nothing too special. Operator selection is going to include an IQ. You've got a Maverick and a Thermite, so all of the hard destruction options available are being brought. That is going to be kind of obvious on Bank. You'll have that pretty much every single round. It's a slow top clear, as BDS want to establish that there are no roamers upstairs or in the middle floor before they start pushing the site. They've established that the top floor is cleared. Now they can start working downstairs, where there are some roamers from G2. They're using castle barricades to support this roam as much as they possibly can. Breaching charge is even being used upstairs, which is interesting.
Is the power of IQ. She might not have her frag grenades, but she does have those breaching charges available, so vertical play is something that she's very much capable of. She was already capable of vertical play because of her her scanner on her wrist. Of course, if there's any kind of electronics or even if defenders are sitting on their phones, checking cams, they are visible on the IQ scanner. Surprised by the amount of people that actually don't know that. Kanto is an exceptional fragger, and he's going to get very aggressive. He's holed up inside Archives, and he'll find RXWD. Down goes the IQ. Shaiko is hot on his trail. There's actually 2 members of BDS, maybe 3 with the Lems there. It's going to take 3 of them in about 30 seconds to be able to get that.
That's a lot of time wasted there from Cancer Kitty, and he managed to take 1 player with him, which is pretty substantial. Now BDS are looking to try and clear out the rest of these roamers that actually persist. It's Fabian in the open area. Try and hold on.
It was actually a Lems' kill, so nice start for him on BDS.
Yes, a good one indeed. And they needed that refrag, but they're going to add to it as Shaiko gets Fabian. No Hibana, no problem, says Shaiko, as he can make Maverick work just fine. But Uno is still on the roam, and top square has not been cleared out by BDS. So he's going to be able to get one from behind before being refragged by Alems. That's the second refrag that Alems has managed to get. He's making it work for his team. He's keeping them in it. But Pengu, the aggression, shuts down Shaiko. And now with only 35 seconds, the last 2 on BDS have to push into the last 2 from G2.
It's a big brain play from Pengu, and one that usually ends up worse for wear. So tough position to find themselves in for BDS, but you got to determine the location of the defenders, then fight from there. The good news is for G2 is they've got tons of plant utility at their disposal, but so does Secret. There'll go 1 concussion as it's a hot drop from Alems. Cryan is there, can't win it out, but Pengu will get it. And G2 will take round number 1. They get the opening pick. It snowballs from there. They wasted a lot of time in that first floor, and then they managed to survive the push at the end.
That was a unnaturally aggressive G2, I would say. Pretty aggro on those drop downs, on the roam upstairs. They did not let go of their roamers. They told them to stay up and hold for as long as possible, and it worked out. It worked out pretty well for G2. BDS, to be fair though, went toe to toe. They brought it all the way to the end at 1 versus 1, and it could have gone BDS's way if not for the crossfire right there at the last moment. Pengu with the aggressive play onto Shaiko, I think on the drop down, is what saved the round though, because if it had not been for that, it would have been a 3v2 favor attack, and they would have just consolidated and gone for a push in unison, and the last 2 players on the defense probably would have been stopped. Not the case though. You can see here on Bank, it's a map that you could say slightly favors BDS, though I don't know, it's kind of light favor, considering G2 just hasn't played it as many times, and that's the whole last season, mind you. I mean, if you look at recent statistics, it's more of the same. It's kind of, it doesn't really, neither of these teams have a whole lot to talk about on Bank, like most recently. So, yeah. It's just kind of an unknown, I guess, or not an unknown, but more of a not much to talk about in the histories in the column. So we'll move on from that. G2 have managed their basement defense. They're gonna have to try somewhere else. They'll go to the top floor instead of tellers for the secondary site.
Well, if you wanted to answer the question, what is Shaiko going to play as instead of Hibana? Well, he's just going to go into Maverick, so he's going to maintain that secondary breach role and excel in it. With the defense of the upstairs being the primary focus for BDS, I don't think they're going to have as easy of a time entering as they did in the previous round.
Attackers have located a bomb.
RXWD going to spot out the Jaeger. Uno playing inside of Paper. I mean, there's not really much to be done about it, though. There's no one in a position to capitalize on that information, so...
Yes, were they even spotted? I don't know if he was spotted in that one.
I don't think they marked him, if that's what you mean. Oh, this could be a really easy kill for Shaiko. It's going to be, actually, as long as... Oh, yeah, he's checked it, but no, the angle's being held by the Maestro, so he's got to be careful here. Should be a pre-fire. There it is. Hits the legs, but a 3-armor can survive, and Cryan does.
Anything else, and he's dead meat.
Yeah.
He's got 15 HP that he'll walk away with. At least it looks like thereabouts. So Shaiko entering successfully, and Cryan will be in a tough spot for the remainder of the round. It's a Secret, rather a Lems, rather, from Secret. That tagline is going to confuse me endlessly. We had that happen before. I can't remember. There was what team was it? They had like 2 or 3 players with different tags on them.
I think it was Latin America. I think it was BD.
Oh, Cryan. All right, there you go. He picks away at Renshiro. And Kanto Raketti grabs a Lems as well. The hard destruction goes, Rafal falls.
A bomb has been located.
5v2 essentially at this point.
Look at that shield from Cryan. He's doing a lot of work from there. Shaiko will get the first kill for his team, but Pengu just prior had managed to take out Rafal on that aggressive play. RXWD gonna get Uno in the hallway. Shaiko and RXWD in a good position actually to win this, but it's gonna be difficult. They'll have to step up and regain that man advantage if they won't have any chance. Smoke's coming out here to stop the push into paper from Fabian. The long angle, the shield from Cryan, because he was able to survive earlier in the round, doing a lot of work, but RXWD going to get his second kill. Can he make it a third? No, is the answer, as Fabian inside of paper shuts him down. Nice angle there.
Well-played coordination from G2 and good patience. They played with a little bit of aggressiveness off-site, as you expect on a bank roam, and both times BDS looked like they were close to getting the roamers, but falling just short. On CEO defense, G2 were flying under the radar a little bit better. How much does that round change if Shaiko eliminates Cryan? Well, we mentioned that because he's a 3 armor, he survived with 15 HP. Cryan got 2 very important kills at long range and was still able to commandeer those Evil Eye cams as well. I think that round goes entirely different if Shaiko gets that opening pick. But
I mean, he did a pretty good job, to be honest. But
no fault to Shaiko. I'm just talking about Cryan bouncing back.
Yeah, it's mostly, yes, I completely agree. It's mostly because Cryan was able to get to that shield position. Not many other operators can play it as well as a Maestro on a shield. He managed to do a whole heck of a lot of work from there, and I think that if it weren't for that, no, I agree with you. I think that BDS would have had a better chance. Not saying they would have won it, but they would have had a much better chance. It's going to be open area now, so no tellers for G2.
These teams did play on bank at DreamHack Montreal, but bear in mind that this was back in September, which, you know, was quite a ways ago, and might not even necessarily have the same impact, so to speak. So it was a 7-5 victory for BDS en route to a 2-0 victory of BDS over G2, which knocked G2 out of DreamHack Montreal before they could even make it to the playoffs. Just to add some insult to injury, a spawn peak potential from G2 onto BDS, but Renshiro plays a little bit tight to the building and doesn't put himself at any major risk. Could have been a major blow to BDS's potentials, losing that Thatcher.
So, operator selection, pretty standard stuff. So again, I mean, you're right, the lack of a Thatcher ban is going to give a little bit more freedom to BDS. No castle being brought in open area is kind of interesting to me for G2. They were bringing castle on the basement, actually, but not so on open. That's very different. I would say open A is actually probably one of the best sites for castle, but of course G2 has their own way of going about it, and they, you know, they put thought into all of these decisions. Kanto Raketti, once again playing Legion inside of Archives. Now, the reason he plays Legion on Archives is because he can do so much control by himself using his traps to gather information on all of the entry points. So he doesn't have to worry about getting flanked or anything like that because he knows where he's being pressured from thanks to the traps. RXWD might be able to mitigate that for BDS by using his gadget, but, you know, that's a maybe. And even then, you're still getting information if you're Kanto Raketti because you know what's been shot.
Alem is on a one-man mission to find Kanto Raketti, having his own drone being situated. There you go. Usually it takes like just a short second to be able to open that one up. And very aggressive is Cryan underneath the hatch, and Shaiko will punish him for it. G2 got better luck when Pengu peeked the hatch on that first round, but, you know, lightning doesn't strike twice. Alem's still trying to figure out exactly where Kanto Raketti is. Kanto peeks. It's ill-advised. He loses that one pretty hard. And down goes Pengu as well. The open area defense not working out very well as you're 1 kill away from a flawless round for BDS. It's Fabian in a 1v5. He calls himself the best player in the world, but it doesn't really matter how good you are in this situation. Most teams will be there to refrag you, and he'll hit Alems like a truck, but get taken out immediately by Renshiro. Like I said, the refrag potential in BDS is on the board.
So, what happened there? BDS read the aggression from G2, they played around the aggression from G2, and they did not let it well work. Because they expected it. They pre-aimed it, and they punished it. We saw multiple times there where G2 were just peeking things and dying, to BDS holding angles, which is a good read from BDS. Now the question is, will G2 be able to change gears, or are they going to get stuck in their way and end up getting themselves punished over and over and over again? Or will it suddenly start working for G2 again, as it had been in the first 2 rounds? I couldn't say. I mean, it's really up to G2. One thing I will say is that I think going into this, G2 clearly are trying to come at this match as in a different mindset than they usually do, because their previous mindsets have not been working very well. And we've seen that in their recent results, especially with the Invitational qualifier. Didn't make it very far, and I think they got eliminated by M&M, right? If I'm not mistaken.
They did. G2 got knocked out by M&M. UK Massive?
Yep.
It's a UK Massive loss for Na'Vi in the first match.
Who also, to be fair, eliminated Vitality, which is pretty big too, so. And Orglis.
There's too many UK Massive jokes that I can make. There's so little time.
Yeah.
So little time.
And eventually got eliminated, or M&M eventually got eliminated by Chaos, but Chaos have actually been playing they played really well in the qualifiers.
And Chaos is going to be in our next matchup up against the Giants roster, now known as Rogue.
Yeah.
Them as Giants. Rogue is back in the game. We'll see if Giants Gaming is going to pick up another team, as they've noted in their Twitter post that I believe they're still looking to remain in our ecosystem. So, anywho, neither of those teams are currently active in this matchup. We have G2 with a victory over BDS. Possible? Who knows? 2-1 right now. Things can change, though. It's bank, it's defense. Operator bans don't really do all that much to make me think the attackers have a bigger advantage than they would usually, so this could just be par for the course. The entry from BDS is going to be on the main floor, not as much of a dedication onto that second floor like the very first time they attacked this site in round number 1. CCTV and lockers down below. RXWD running on the IQ. He's been instrumental at finding and picking out all that utility and gadgetry that's thrown out from G2. And as you can hear from the very unique and defined sounds of a Valkyrie camera being shot, well, RX has been doing his job quite effectively.
Drops opened up. Progress made.
Scanning.
G2 still have plenty of denial. Maestros, smokes, 2 C4s. They don't really need to rush. They have toned things down. We're back to basics here for G2. We're back to just waiting out the default plan. That's worked pretty well. BDS still took a pretty long amount of time to clear upstairs. And now they only have half the round to go for the plant. Valkyrie Cam called out there. Evil Eye also has to have been called out. Shaiko maybe hasn't practiced Maverick as much as is necessary. Of course, he is getting pushed onto the Maverick, having the Hibana banned, but he's got to work a little bit on his, sees the head of an enemy. Renshiro going for the shot. He's missing it though. It's over the top of that shield. It's a hard shot to hit, but he's got the elevation to do so if he's patient enough.
This is
how long is Renshiro going to dance with this?
mildly infuriating. And the other thing too, it's not even a guaranteed kill.
There you go.
There you go. He'll hit it on the Fabian. It's not even a guaranteed kill because keep in mind your head or your helmet is not your full head hitbox.
Well, with smoke, it's kind of
very close.
Yeah,
very close. So a refrag there from G2 and just narrowly dodging the C4 as a dance with death from Rafal. He'll get out of there, but Shaiko drops to his death. Renshiro has his teammates back, and Rafal will get the plant down. No.
Both C4's gone though.
No plant utility. The pulse pushes on up. Renshiro has been instrumental in BDS's success so far. And Alems will catch him from behind, but he gets dusted by Kanto Raketti. The Jaeger will need to win this with 10 seconds left. Diffuser is down. They will juggle it back and forth. It's a 1v1. Renshiro's going to have to go for the kill. Kanto Raketti win it. All he needs to do is waste time. He'll get the kill anyway through the bars. Didn't even need it. The clock was going to be G2's greatest ally. They're up 3-1.
So G2 read it perfectly. That's beautiful. I talked about it before the round started. I said, well, okay, BDS has determined that G2 is getting really aggressive. They're holding angles. They're expecting it. They're countering it. Smart BDS. And even smarter G2 is now they have changed gears. And they leverage another round off of that. Very impressive stuff from G2, despite a very impressive performance from BDS as well. Renshiro with 3 kills. And he could have won it in the 1v1. That was a great round from him. He manages to cover the plant, even though it didn't actually go down in the end, twice, getting kills off of it. And it looked pretty good for BDS. It looked like they were going to be able to make it happen, but not so in the end because of the amount of utility that was delaying the push. You know, the funny thing is, there's a lot of utility delaying the push, but there was also, I mean, you've got the C4s both missing. The Evil Eyes, I think the Evil Eye in sight was destroyed pretty fast. And the smoke was picked off on the shield deep in sight. So all of the plant denial was dealt with pretty effectively by BDS. CEO defense now. Once again, the secondary site for G2.
Not much is changing here from the lineup that we see from BDS. The only one who's really flexed on other positions has been Renshiro so far. The rest is, well, par for the course.
We got Castle being brought again here, but on that top floor, I'm sure we'll see that same shield we saw last time from G2 because that worked so well.
Yep. It's hard to underscore how much better
it's not there right now.
Those new shields are for playing around.
So good.
It's very challenging as an attacker to, I guess, punish the people playing behind it. It's as if the defenders needed another tool at their disposal. But the new shields certainly open up different opportunities for defenders and put more onus on the attackers to bring the correct amount of destruction to deal with them.
I wonder who brought the shield exactly. Can we cycle through the players on G2? I want to see. Because it's kind of relevant. It was smoke. Okay, so I was wondering because I was going to suggest maybe they're going to move the shield based on where the enemy comes from. And they've determined it's going to be a square attack again, so they'll move the shield. I was wondering if it was going to be smoke to be able to do that, and it will be. And they have moved the shield. So, you know, with the square take coming out from BDS, this is going to be much the same as the last round, but to start things off, Uno's gone.
Punish Uno very early. Looked like he was playing down over towards the top of main stairs, which is, I believe, where he was around the last time. Him and Kanto Ricchetti, pardon the cursing from the Thermite, of course. Is he downstairs trying to find his location? He was upstairs.
It's a rated 18 game, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, he was. There he is. He's in stock, where RXWD is now. We'll find Fabian, the smoke taken out of action. This is a great entry from BDS to find two, but it'll be answered back. RXWD taken out, and very swiftly this becomes a 3v3. Looks like there's one split from G2 in the main lobby. Shaiko's in the middle of the site though. So strong. Kanto finds one. Shaiko gets gunned down. He'll manage to outsmart Cryin. He's got the safety of the couch to his left with Alems down below. It's a 2v2. Can Shaiko win that fight against Kanto? Yes, the MPX is not good enough. And Pengu with that UMP in hand. We'll have to wait for Alems to get back onto the site. All it takes is one bullet from Shaiko. Pengu waiting, the UMP will have to engage, but he'll lose it. Shaiko, 3 big kills as he just walks right in, and he takes no prisoners at all. BDS closing the gap.
That's the Shaiko effect right there. That was really just Shaiko walking into sight, holding it down for his team. There's not much else to talk about there. G2 should have won that round when they got the 2 refrags. They reestablished dominance after the initial kills the BDS managed to leverage over by paper or by stock. Now, that's really, that's unfortunate for G2, but that's just more impressive for Shaiko. I got to be honest. So it'll be CEO defense for the last round in the first half from G2. We'll see if they manage to make this work the second time around, or I guess the third total. But that last try was not great for G2. So just give them a chance to start anew. They almost managed to bring it back. Cryan's going to switch off of the Maestro onto an Alibi, which is going to be very different for the entry game for Shaiko or anyone like him. When you're coming in from CEO, you got 3 Prismas to confront, and then Cryan suddenly peeks you from somewhere you don't expect. That can often slow down or just stop dead in its track an entry like the one that we just saw from Shaiko, and that's probably why they've decided to bring the Alibi.
Anything to really try and frustrate BDS. G2 were almost able to dig themselves out of the hole they found themselves in, right? It was a 5v3 really quickly, then became a 3v3 really quickly. But by the time it became a 3v3, you'd allowed free access for Shaiko to just take control of the site. And Cryin was unfortunately cut off by that castle barricade and didn't really have anywhere to go. That's a double barricade strat. I cannot remember the last time we saw that. Double barricades on the 2 big windows inside of the B-bomb on CEO. Well, alrighty then. The Alibi will also just create more clutter in general for RXWD. Not that it's going to make much of a difference, but I mean, I think everybody can relate to playing an IQ, looking at the targets, looking in the sight, and just going, oh my god, that's a lot of electronics. So.
Yeah, there's a lot to be gained here from RXWD playing on IQ, and I think, again, this is a very different match than what we saw in match number 1 today. It's worth noting that in match number 1, we had a very aggro playstyle being represented by both Na'Vi and Force, and the team that played more aggressive, that played more around those kills, was the team that won more often than not. IQ is not brought at all, to my recollection, and that was with Echo being in play, and Valkyrie, and both of them being used, although Echo less frequently. So, yes, it depends on the type of team, depends on how you're going to play. Here with BDS and G2, I think there's a little bit more structure being represented, even though we're having some aggressive situations. It's almost like it's more measured. It's really interesting to watch, and again, both playstyles are very, very interesting. Now that would have been really good actually if it were Goyo Shield. It's not.
Yeah. Goyo is, of course, unbanned, so he can be played whenever by anybody, but we really haven't seen him be used by either of these teams. Like I said, from what I saw of the qualifiers last month, which I didn't watch as much of as I could because of travel and all that jazz, Goyo saw his biggest presence on Clubhouse. 2 picks for BDS as they get this ball rolling, and Uno and Kanto are down, and just like that, down goes Rafael. You've lost your hard breacher, your primary hard breacher, rather. You've opened up one of the walls. Shaiko's going to be on plant duty as he fetches the diffuser. Cryan jumps out, and it doesn't end up being the smartest play as Renshiro is watching. And now Fabian falls too, and very swiftly, the round goes 3-3. BDS marching back, and that's the first half in the books.
So get into the ebb and flow of the aggression from both teams. BDS locking it down here as G2 tried once again, unsuccessfully, to get aggressive and capitalize upon BDS having their pants down. They didn't. There was one moment there where we saw BDS get punished, where they had their thermite outside of the breach, but other than that, there hasn't been any actual significant result coming, or well, there wasn't in that last round from the aggression shown by G2. So nice try from G2, but ultimately falling flat on its face. BDS now, even round count going into the second half. Good. I'd say this is just a really interesting dance we're watching right now between these teams. Between the rounds where you can play passive, the rounds where you start getting aggressive, and the rounds where you're having the read come out perfectly from one team or another, regardless of which direction it's going. And that's what makes it, again, it makes it an interesting dance. Now, we're going to the basement for the first round for BDS. We'll see how that favors them. They've got Smoke, Maestro, and looks like just one C4, but actually, look at that. They've got an Ela being brought. So there's 2 different things you can do with the Ela here. Thing number 1, you can hold on to server, which is what most people will do with an Ela. They'll bring the shotgun, and they'll hold on to the service stairs. It looks like that's what's going to happen is you've got an ADS there. Thing number 2 is you can actually use her Guzmans to deny plant.
That's also true.
Yeah, and it could be pretty effective, especially in conjunction with a smoke.
We saw it most commonly on Oregon. Way back when operator bans didn't exist, you would have an Ela possibly play behind the mirror window or even the long hall and then just throw Guzman mines over towards the washing machine where your default plant spot was. And it could work.
Fast players can shoot them before they detonate, of course, but they trigger pretty quick. It's not as good as a lifeline, but it's up there.
So, first crack at attack for G2, and they're going to run things a little bit differently. Not by much, though. They've just got a buck. Everything else is the same, and Fabian is on secondary hard breach duties along with Pengu. Keep in mind that taking Goga off of this team required a bit of a role swap. Cryan is not usually a dedicated support / hard breacher, so that requires some finessing with the roles. And some people looked at the OGA pit results for G2 as a possible reason due to the fact that they made a roster move. We'll see. Cryan has not been bad by any stretch in this matchup, though.
So Fabian displaying what it looks like when you practice with Maverick, because he clearly has. That's a really beautifully efficient drop getting opened up there by the Maverick. And G2 will be all the better for it. Though they have not cleared out the server just yet. They're going to have to step up on that. You've still got Ela playing on the stairs. I don't know if Alems has any support here, or if he's actually just on an island is there anyone else in the server for the defense? No. There's just a pulse. So Elems is just trapped on the stairs. Pengu knows this. There's a barricade on the door downstairs, which means that Elems can only get aggro above. He cannot fight his way out below because of his own barricade. Now he's going to start getting pressure from behind, and he'll just die to Pengu. Look at that.
Who's waiting in the middle of server with a minute to go, and now the rhythm of this attack happens. I always enjoy watching this. I don't know how many times we've casted Bank in our lives, but there's something about the way that teams juggle gadgets and utility on this plant that is just fascinating to watch, because it is literally a second that can make a massive difference.
There's still so much for the defense.
Oh, absolutely.
You got all your smokes, your C4, and your Evil Eyes.
And you got Pulse in gold, which is a prime position for you to be in. You got to wait out those smoke canisters. You can tie together about 30 to 40 seconds, depending on how well you space them out here. And it's, with the 7-second plant timer now, it's enough to kill you. But say goodbye to RXWD, a very similar angle to we saw Renshiro do. There goes the C4 shot out of the air. Everything from BDS is falling apart and looking very close to a flawless round. Kanto and Fabian have their life chipped away at his diffuser goes down for G2. Shaiko pushes up. He gets punished by Uno. And old Renshiro, way far away as he sees tons of bullets going around him. Where's he getting shot from? He doesn't know. A flawless round from G2. Good start for them on attack.
Say what you will about G2, but they are still the masters of the standard meta. What we saw there was exactly what you were referencing, something that we've casted a lot, the juggle of the utility, the interest therein, and G2 always managed somehow to be the best team at doing exactly that. The astute among you might have observed that G2 had every single base covered. They had the C4 from Red covered by the player using the Maverick hole coming from the server. They had the pixel angle covered by specifically Uno, who had pre-set up on that angle to make sure that no one could peek through the bars to deny the default plant. They had already dealt with the Evil Eyes. They managed to shoot the C4 mid-air. The smoke was picked off by Kanto Raketti standing on the desk inside of server the same way we saw BDS do in the first half. G2 had every possible piece of denial accounted for and countered before they even went for their plant attempt. And so they didn't need to fake.
So many things worked out well for them, too. I mean, just the amount of gunfire that G2 was putting down. Paralyzing Renshiro inside of the site, not allowing him to move. Catching the C4 when you know that it's going to come. Overall, I mean, G2 crossed their I's and dotted their T's.
They had everything, everything set for.
Crossed their I's and dotted their T's.
Remaining.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they switched them.
Cross their. Oh yeah, no. I've just, you just kind of gloss over it. It's like when someone makes a reference to a person that you don't know, and you go, and then you move on with your life.
Such a good one. Elems is not running the shotgun though. The FO12 was nerfed somewhat recently.
Lots of recoil.
But I mean, it's still so good. It is still, as the children would say, it's still dummy good.
It's still the play if you're holding on to server stairs.
Oh, I mean, you put a shotgun in that position. I mean, we've seen bandits and Jaegers trade out their excellent weaponry for the M870, which isn't a bad shotgun, but I mean, you're hard-pressed to find better weapons than the MP7 and the 416, or the 416, rather.
You know, another thing that's really good about the Ella being brought here, I'll say, is she's a single kit. You bring your shield, you can hold your stairs by yourself. All you need is like an ADS to be moved to you. But I will say that it could do with some support from the rest of BDS. It might be that Elems is just like, hey, I'm the new player. I'm not as used to this, so you know what I'll do? I'll play on the stairs, and I'll try to waste time for you guys. And it can work. It can work. But he's alone. He's on an island, and G2 are effectively dealing with it.
I've called this the tomb before because you essentially get buried in and there's no escape whatsoever. Kanto Raketti's going to see if there's any more ADSs there as Pengu tries to enter over from dirt. The Ella peeks on up, and Elems takes so much damage and gets down by Uno, who hip fires his way on up.
That's why Uno brings that laser.
I mean, she was also at 1 HP. At that range,
Fair.
Anybody's hitting that shot. I'm even hitting that shot at that range. Probably not, but I'm probably hitting it anyway.
No, you'd hit that shot.
Thanks, Michael.
You definitely hit that shot.
So G2 now very easily have control of CCTV, just outside of CCTV, rather, inside a server. Opening up that line of sight, and you said they're the masters of the meta. They're doing the exact same thing as before. But they're a little bit ahead of schedule. That's the big thing. They are a little bit ahead of schedule.
Now, you've got an aggressive play from Shaiko on the main stairs, and while G2 might be the masters of the meta. BDS are the masters of surprise and taking an advantage from Shaiko's picks. So they now can retake upstairs, which is going to upset everything as Shaiko gets his second kill in this round. G2 now in a really bad spot as they cannot deny, well, these smokes, the Maestros, and the C4s that are going to be prevalent. Fabian will take out RXWD, but Renshiro with the double into the site, using that Alda to really effective plays. Shaiko gets his third on the final, and BDS, what a comeback from the last round, managing to stop G2 on their take.
I don't think Renshiro had to reload once on the Alda, by the way.
I don't think so either.
How many bullets? 800 bullets?
I think it's 80, but...
800 bullets.
800 bullets, yes. Effectively 800.
That thing just chews through anything. Those metal bars, usually too much to contend against most teams, but when you got so many bullets, a couple of them hit the bar.
Just haphazardly spray, you'll get it.
Haphazardly is a good way of putting it. And Shaiko, I think, was the biggest impact on that round. He got an opportunity to go up the main stairs. Nobody saw him coming. He continued to push. It was a very standard rotate, and he very luckily ran into Uno, and then you didn't have anybody on flank watch. There was no flank watch from G2.
So the big reason why...
Other than Uno, who died.
Yeah, other than the first one. the big reason why that was so important, why that kill for Shaiko was so important, was because there was only one flank watch. And the reason there was only one flank watch is G2 has everyone else dedicated to the main plant and the take inside of server. And as soon as your flank watch dies, you have to pull more people off of that take. You lose prongs to the take. So, for example, the guy who's going to shoot the C4, the guy who's going to deal with the pixel angle, the guy who's going to cover the rush into sight, the guy who's going to shoot the Maestro Evil Eye when it opens up to deny the plant. All these different things, all these different guns that could be holding these angles, when they're no longer there, you know, the plant's not going to work. It's going to die to the C4, or it will die to the smokes, or it'll die to the Evil Eye, or the pixel angle, or whatever exact piece of the equation BDS still has access to because G2 has pushed another player off of the take to try and deal with Shaiko's flank. So that one kill that Shaiko got at the top of the stairs was all that really mattered in the end, because it upset all of G2's take as soon as it happened. And from there, BDS just trounced G2. So now, we are going to Teller's defense. We'll see how BDS does here.
They're very quick to entry. I will imagine, as with most things CEO, unless you're going for a dedicated bull rush up the main stairs, that we are going to see a slower round from G2. And, well, already they're pretty close. An upside down rappel is almost unbeatable from that angle, barring a jump out. The way the perspective works in this game is that when they're upside down in that position, you as an attacker are putting yourself at almost zero risk, like I said, outside of a jump out, because when you're on rappel, naturally, it's tough to get hit. I don't know where Rafael was situated, but the Maestro will not be long for this Earth. With 1 minute to go, and he's been eliminated inside of what we call banana.
I call that reception, but the little bit outside of reception is banana.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll call reception then.
Oh, what a shot
That's a
from
nice
Uno.
shot, wow.
Jeez. That's very clean. The C4 will also miss from below, from RXWD or Renshiro, whoever had it. Probably, yeah, it's RX.
Surprised they didn't go CEO for the second crack at defense. I actually thought it was CEO when I first looked at it, but
We also didn't see, oh!
very aggressive from RX, and an impossibly hard shot to hit for most people, even at this level.
We also didn't see Tellers at all from G2. They didn't try it. They went open instead.
That is true.
They did not like Tellers, so G2 reading the site selection correctly. BDS getting a little bit punished here for this Tellers pick. More aggression to try and make up for the man disadvantage here from Renshiro. See if it works out for him, or if it ends up getting him punished as well. You know, Shaiko's still alive, so this is... It's not done yet.
Some intel being grabbed in the dying moments of this round. As you can hear, Renshiro will have another piece added to his army as there's a Mozzie being picked up. But Shaiko under fire. He's going to spin on out. Renshiro gets one, but he's stomped upon by Fabian. Shaiko doesn't have much HP, but he will need an absolutely miraculous effort to win this one. In a 1v3 with 30 seconds left, he finds a single kill. We'll need to snowball more. Cry and Kanto and Fabian are there in Shaiko's position, given away, but he's not even going to be able to take one down with him. Kanto Ricchetti will once again give G2 the lead. It's been a seesaw over the last 4 rounds, with both teams trading kills.
Very much back and forth. BDS got punished for the roam upstairs by Uno, walking into the building. I'm not sure if anyone was droning for Uno, but what I do know is that G2 just well, I mean, Uno specifically just decided to walk in, and he got 2, and then the round was pretty much over from there, because not only did he get 2 kills upstairs, but he also managed to secure top 4 control, which he can just turn into pressure onto the site, which makes the anchors' lives difficult. Meanwhile, the roamers over by open area for BDS also didn't really manage to accomplish anything. So, G2, overall, just a pretty one-sided round there. Tellers, again, for BDS. They insist on second times the charm. It worked for the basement. Will it work for Tellers is now the question.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
If
bombs.
this goes the way of BDS, we could be looking at a draw right now. I mean, we're trending towards right now, it feels like, a draw, because we constantly have this back and forth going on. Renshiro and Shaiko really stand out performers today. You can see them both with 10 kills. That's 20 kills for 2 people. Yeah, we've played a lot of rounds, but jeez.
But geez.
But jeez.
But geez.
Jeez, Parker.
10 seconds to go.
So,
I was going to ask.
what's that?
The Jackal play from
5
Cryan.
seconds left.
Suspect it's a nuisance when it comes to his gadget because they've had some issues with BDS roaming, certainly not being used for the smoke as an execute.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I would say that is
That's what I
probably
would
why
say.
they're bringing the Jackal. I mean, a lot of people ask is like, why does Jackal get banned all the time? Why?
Especially in ranked.
Why? Yeah, well, I was about to say.
For the commoner.
So yeah, for the commoner, when you're playing in ranked, a lot of people ask is like, why does Jackal get banned all the time? And the reason is because if you ban Jackal, you can then in ranked especially, you can then roam.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't ban the Jackal, then you're gonna have a really rough time roaming.
Drone ready. I mean, there was even a period of time where Jackal didn't see a ton of play in Pro League, especially after he was introduced, and Jackal needed a couple buffs to make him more relevant. I mean, the C70 has always been one of the best guns in the game.
It's up there, yeah.
It's not really something that you can argue. But at this level, the utility that is brought from Jackal in terms of his smokes and his secondary shotgun is strong. His gadget itself, in the Inox Model 3, as it's on your screen,
Or just the Inox.
is good, but when you have pro teams that are already so proficient at communicating, very similar to a Caveira with interrogation, it's often wasted utility. It can be applied better elsewhere. That's why you see some teams will bring, that spot that Jackal is in. There was a period of time where it was a Ying or a Glaz who was there, Dokkaebi, etc.
Oh no, Uno misses the nade. But he's still going to be able to entry here after coming down the sitting duck rappel in the main lobby. Rafael will be the first casualty of this round. Uno looking for more.
Oh, both of these players are so close to each other. Alems as well as Pengu. Anybody's game as to who wins that one. Shaiko hears the signs of Maverick up above as Fabian is close to the windows. He's daring somebody to engage, but Shaiko's a little bit smarter than that and very patient.
Uno is very close to Shaiko here. There could be some pressure applied to him, but he's actually going to drop. So BDS this round have only lost 1 player to the clear of the top floor, where they could have lost potentially 3. And they managed to get away with only a minute left in the round. So G2 has to be very efficient on their site take. They could easily still lose this, even though they have that man advantage. With only 50 seconds left. It's not going to be anyone's round just yet.
This is really tough for G2. I don't think they know what to do next. And
Well, they expected to get more, I'm sure, out of the top clear.
I think so as well, and now they're left with maybe little drones, maybe no information whatsoever. And where do you go? Because BDS has fallen back very wisely. They've withdrawn from the site, and because of this, they're reading into the situation well. RXWD is under fire. Down goes Uno to Shaiko. He is towards Skylight Stairwells. Pengu finds his second kill onto Alems. Renshiro's manning the stairs, and there's Renshiro with one of his own. RXWD 2 and G2 have lost the plot, but Fabian's in, takes an RXWD. Shaiko's there with 2 big kills, and they'll tie it up yet again. These teams cannot shake each other. 5-5. Shaiko, my lord, what a play.
Shaiko teleporting? I saw him on main stairs. How did he get to archives? The 3-speed really coming through for Shaiko, and what a round for him individually. I think that was a 4K if I'm not mistaken. Big round from him regardless of the actual quantity of his kills and impressive plays. BDS keep it in lockstep, 5-5. We'll go to lockers as the next round, as that's now an option for BDS. Again, this is very much looking like a draw right now, considering how back and forth this is going. And I agree with you. G2, in that last round, they kind of lost their thought process a little bit. It got a little confused because they cleared up upstairs, and then strangely, because this is weird because they had a buck, they didn't use upstairs, and there's only 1 minute left when they had it. So maybe they were trying to think about time, but then they came into an execute to tellers with only 20 seconds left, so that doesn't really compute. I'm not sure what happened there. What I am sure is that there was a buck. They had top 4 control. They had a minute. They did not deal with the players in archives from above, which they could have done. You stick Uno above, he opens up above archives, that round goes the way of G2 because BDS used archives as a gunnery platform to hold on to tellers.
So back down to CCTV we go, and both of these teams looking very close to getting a draw. You predicted a draw, actually.
I did, yes.
You did. You didn't know which one.
Well,
I gave the edge to BDS. In my prediction, I said it'd be 7-5.
Well, it could be anyone still. We don't know.
It could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be decided over the next 2 rounds. That's all.
Is it? It's going to be decided?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to ignore the obviousness of that statement.
Yes.
There's one of these teams. Is
We've got
maybe at least one team.
About 7 or so minutes, and we'll know. Just wait.
God, no wonder they hired you.
Pop out your watches. Yeah, hey, I play video games. I know how this works.
No server stairs control for BDS. I think they realized that putting a Lems in that position was not doing them any favors, and G2 was able to capture control of it as fast as you'd expect. So instead, you take him off the Ellie, you put him on the Valkyrie. There's no IQ that's getting brought from G2, so you don't really need to worry all that hard, but, well, they'll just see it with their own 2 eyes. Uno spotting that Valkyrie camera, and there's nobody inside a server contesting. So the wall will get opened up about 40 seconds, give or take, faster than usual. And here's a bit of a difference. Instead of Fabian cutting the kill hole line at head level, both exothermic charges are going to pop this wide open.
This is maybe, big miss there from Pengu. It'll slow things down. This might be a different actually take, or, well, I was going to say take on the execution, I guess, for G2, as they've opened up the thermite hole, but yes, they're also setting up maybe for a different type of plan. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Uno setting up for nade, that's for sure. Goes in, gets nobody, and
doesn't
nothing.
even take any damage off of somebody from BDS.
Nope. If he times that nade, though, with the plant, this could be better. The Valkyrie cam will be calling that plant attempt, though, and there is still plenty of C4 in denial.
You're losing precious time if you're G2, which is boding well for BDS as they flash over towards what appears to be the vault. C4 about to go, and the gas will connect. Pengu takes down Rafal, and now Alems is next in line for the C4. Shaiko finds Uno, trying to surveil the hatch from above, but there's nobody there. C4 ready to go at any opportunity. Down goes Alems, Cryan finds Renshiro, and 2 kills away from G2 getting a single point. Can Shaiko make a case for BDS? Well, he can take 1 with him. Kanto Raketti refrags, and RXWD will toss in a smoke canister and will need to deny. But he downs Fabian and finishes him off. Pengu and Kanto will need to march on in.
Winnable.
Very, very winnable. RXWD will push up. He has no shotgun ammo, so it's solely on the SMG-11, which you know has very minimal bullets. And there you go, 1 point on the board for G2. They'll, at worst, settle for a draw. They got the opening pick. They couldn't get the execute. They'll find all 5 members of BDS.
So now the question is, are we going to both be wrong as G2 pushes match point? They could just get this next execution, and then they get the win that goes 3 points. They'll be the first team in Europe.
Well, actually, technically, on round differential, Michael, they'd actually be second to 4s.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. I don't know why, but in my head, for some reason, the first match drew, and I think I just a little bit hazy.
Would you say you drew a blank?
I am drawing a blank on that reference.
Because you drew a blank on the first match, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
many blanks being drawn.
This is interesting. So G2 have 6 picked onto a Montaigne with the matchup on the line. Since round number 6, every single round has been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
They so the reason they picked the Montaigne, of course, is because they expect it to be basement once again. As consistently BDS have stuck to a site until they've won it. They
were right.
Yeah, and they've been right to do so. So
yeah.
So Montaigne being brought. Smart. And the reason it's smart is because G2 can now use a different attack strategy onto the basement, which makes them less predictable and harder to counter. There's still a lot of denial on BDS. You got C4s, smokes. Still got those evil eyes. So I mean, I don't think it's
5 seconds to go.
could be the end of the world. BDS could still win this, but
The biggest difference that we just saw from G2 was opening up the lower portion of the secondary wall. That was the big difference. So by doing so, you're able to effectively hold the cross from gold, you're able to hold any rotate from the back of red, and you can also watch into lockers if somebody wants to push on out. Guno getting guided in by a drone as we now turn our sights towards the very final round. No matter what happens, G2 will walk away with a point. Do they win? Do they draw? We don't know.
we'll find out in the next 2 minutes and 23 seconds, Parker.
No, once again, no blue control for BDS. I think that's the right call for them to make, even though they didn't win the previous round.
It wasn't working.
It was not working for them, and you need to change things up here. Now, one of the teams that we have seen pull off a Monty execute so effectively is FaZe. And in this case, I think there's something that G2 could have learned from them in the way they're going to march Montaigne right into servers.
They reinforced the server dropdown. That's really interesting because they're not actually trying to hold, BDS aren't holding server as far as I can tell, but they reinforced the dropdown to suggest to G2 that the dropdown should be opened using hard destruction. And if it were opened using hard destruction, then they wouldn't have been able to open up, and by they I mean G2, both of the server walls. So they didn't waste that exothermic charge, even though they could have, and now they can open both of the server walls, which is integral to a Montaigne take and plant.
I think Monty's position was given away well before just because of the sounds that that shield makes.
Yes.
You have your utility dump on in to try and see what you can do about any ADSs that are on the board from Shaiko. Cryan going for the reverse play, call that the Ninja Turtle. And there's nothing for it right now. Is this plant going to go down with everybody alive? The answer is yes. Cryan falls, but he dies for good measure. It's immediately traded off as Shaiko is punished. The best player from BDS is removed from action. This is going to be a major challenge now. G2 looks to hang on. A retake up the main stairs. 3 members of BDS up the main stairs. And Uno is there. Is he going to catch them all? He finds 1, 2. No, he doesn't. He doesn't even grab the second. So control from above for BDS. But there's Fabian to take out RX. And Lems is next in line. Fabian wins that one too. A C4 is there, but Pengu finishes it off. And G2 wins 7-5. They will sit atop the standings with 4s. Are G2 back?
Well,
are they the greatest team in the world?
G2 have just played a very good match. I will say that they had good strat variation. They played pretty much, I'd say, spotlessly.
I don't want to state the oversimplification of this, but I would just like to say that at this rate, G2 would go undefeated for the rest of the season and finish 14-0.
You think that this is going to be a flawless season from G2 with European Pro League being what it is right now?
I'm not saying that they will or won't. What I am saying, Michael, is that after one victory, if G2 keep up this pace, they will be undefeated.
Oh, I get it. You're memeing.
I would never do that.
About, like...
Never do that.
Those people. Yes.
Don't say those people.
What?
You can't say that.
What?
What do you mean, those people?
What do you think?
The armchair analysts.
It's whatever you think I mean.
The armchair analysts.
No.
I'm not trying to be too bold
Not
here.
talking about, no.
I'm not trying to be too bold here, but I mean G2 will never lose another game.
They're never going to lose ever again.
G2
They are
will never lose a game
once again the best team in the entire world.
They'll never lose a game again.
They have regained the throne.
All jokes aside.
Question is, are they getting invited to the Invitational?
Who knows? Who cares? Who knows? Who cares?
We'll find out.
Don't want to take away from the strategy behind this actual matchup. We actually have an interview ready with Pengu. It was a very impressive matchup. We'll get to it after this interview, but I want to talk to Pengu. Talk to Pengu in a while.
See what he's...
First of all, no, Parker. Who cares about the invite? Parker! I care about the invite. Everyone cares about them. It's all about my Twitter feed is nothing but about the invite, so please. No. Okay, now you can go. Sorry. Keep going.
If you cared about the invite, you should have done better in the qualifiers.
No, if you care about the invite, you should play bad so you might get it.
or you could have played better so that there would be more of an argument for you. Because last I checked, there's a laundry list of teams, including my Go4 team, that finished better in the qualifiers.
But if you save strats for a whole year, you're basically guaranteed to win the entire event. Am I wrong?
Are we going to do this again, the saving strats thing?
I mean, it's worked so far.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in months, by the way.
Likewise, you lost some hair.
I lost some hair.
Here, yeah.
I lost some hair. I lost some weight. Thank you. That's very nice of you.
You look good, Parker. You look good.
So do you, man. I want to talk first and foremost about the Goga swap to Cryan, because obviously this caught a lot of people by surprise, myself included. Why did you bring on Cryan? I know you've spoken about this on your stream. I know you've spoken about this on Twitter, but on a Pro League broadcast here. Why did you bring on Cryan, and what are you hoping to accomplish with him on the roster? I
think a lot of teams, they're in the mindset that if things are stagnating, it's time for a change. I think Goga's a great player and a great person, but I also think that no matter how good or how bad you're performing, there has to be a time where you gotta try something new, and there's gotta be a time where you gotta stick the roster. We stuck the roster for a long time, and it just wasn't working out. We tried evidently over multiple seasons, and we thought we might as well try this now. And Cryan, as the rumors have, wasn't the top of our list necessarily, but upon trialing multiple players, Cryan was the best fit that we saw for our team. And I'm a little bit sad for Cryan's part that he hasn't had the best chance to prove himself because of our poor performance as a 4-man roster. Cryan isn't the problem, but we have a broken wheel, and Cryan just happens to be a part of it. So I know that there's been a lot of backlash on him, but I don't want people to go too hard because the issue isn't Goga, the issue isn't Cryan. If anything, where the issues continuing throughout roster changes is on the 4 core players that has been here forever, so to speak.
So what is the broken wheel? You said you have a broken wheel. What is it?
Well, I mean, Fabian has gained some weight again, so the wheel might be, you know, I don't know. I think that we have, I don't know, I mean, Parker's doing great, but I don't know what the issue is, perhaps. I think that's why we've been struggling, because we can't really put our fingers on it. It's not like a player performing issue. It's not really that we're missing supporting staff. We have incredible analysts, coaches. I saw you give a shout out to Fresh as well recently. I think that we're just in a position where we need to reinvent ourselves and figure out how we can become the team that we want to be and are meant to be. And I think this game today and the practice we've had after OGA and after the multiple failures, that's the build-up for that team that we want to be. And if we get the invite, then the plan is to go full force and show that team at the invite itself.
That's actually what I was going to ask about for you, is what if you do get the invite? Because right now, we don't know who's going to get it. We don't know when it's going to be announced. If you get the invite, with the way you've been playing recently, a lot of people peg you as going out in the groups. So how do you prove to them that you're not going to be a team who just gets a pity invite for being the, you know, the world champions and then gets knocked out before you can even make it to the quarters?
I think no matter what we do, even if we go clean sweep this entire Pro League season, I still don't think that justifies the invite as valid. I still think no matter what, if we get it, it's going to be a pity invite, because there are so many teams out there who have had a really good record the last 6 months. There are teams who've beaten us multiple times the last 6 months, and they aren't going by the invite. But we'll get it because of success we had a year ago, arguably. So I think our goal is to show in this Pro League season leading up that we do deserve it, to the point where it's not wasted. And then obviously we'll continue to prove that in or at invite itself. But no matter what, it will be a pity invite if we do get it.
Well, I always enjoy hearing your perspective on these kind of things, and I appreciate the candidness. I was expecting to talk to you and not Fabian. Please send Fabian my regards wherever he may be. Last thing to say before we end the interview, anything to your fans, etc.? Any pleas to Ubisoft or ESL for the invite?
I think the only thing there's to say is that we went into this game with a 6-man roster. This one was for Panics. Fully for Panics.
Ooh, hello, Reddit. Anyway. Hello. Well, it's always nice to see you, and good luck in your next match later this week. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you, Parker.
Take care.
Thank you.